It was raining outside, one of those quiet, soft rains that makes the whole school feel sleepy. I was in the library with a small group of kids, working on a history project. Ms. Turner, the librarian, was helping someone print their homework when we heard the siren. Not a fire alarm. A different sound. Then, the speaker clicked on. This is a lockdown. Repeat. Lockdown. This is not a drill. The room fell silent. Ms. Turner's eyes widened. She turned off the lights and motioned us to hide behind the tall bookshelves. My heart started pounding. We crouched low. I could hear my own breathing. Ms. Turner whispered, "Stay low. Don't make a sound." That's when we heard the library door creak open. Someone had come inside. We couldn't see who it was from where we were hiding, but we could hear the footsteps. Slow. Careful. Whoever it was, they weren't in a hurry. They were looking for something. Or someone. I covered my mouth with both hands. The person moved closer. Books started falling off the shelves. A chair tipped over. And then, they said something I'll never forget. "Where is she?" The voice was deep, angry, and shaky. We stayed completely still. I could hear someone next to me sobbing quietly. I hoped the person wouldn't hear. Then, suddenly, the door slammed shut. The man was gone. Minutes later, police officers stormed in. They told us the man had been looking for someone in the school office, but when he couldn't find them, he wandered into the library. He didn't have a weapon, but he had scared a lot of people. We later learned he was a parent who had lost custody of his child and was told not to come near the school. That day, I learned how fear can sneak in, even in the quietest places like the library.
I had to stay late after school for detention. It was me, 2 other kids, and the detention teacher, Mr. Clay. The rest of the school was nearly empty. The hallways were quiet, the sun was setting, and I just wanted to go home. That's when we heard it. Bang, bang. 2 loud bangs near the back exit. We all looked at each other. Mr. Clay stood up, confused. "Stay here," he said, and walked to the hallway. A few minutes passed. Then the speaker came on. "We are in lockdown. This is not a drill." We jumped to our feet. Mr. Clay ran back in and locked the door. Then we saw something on the security camera screen in the corner of the room. A girl. A girl in a school uniform. Walking down the hallway, barefoot. We all stared at the screen. "That girl's not supposed to be here," Mr. Clay said. "That wing of the building's under construction. No one should be over there." She stopped walking, turned, looked directly at the camera. Then the screen went black. The power in our room flickered. The lights shut off. Then we heard footsteps. Not running, just soft, slow steps. Closer, closer. Someone tried the doorknob. We held our breath. Then silence. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Finally, the lights came back on. Police came in and told us it was safe. But here's the thing. They never found the girl. There was no record of her being a student. She didn't show up on any other camera. And when we asked Mr. Clay what he saw out in the hallway, he just shook his head. "She wasn't human," he whispered. "Sometimes, when the hallway is really quiet after school, I swear I hear bare feet on the tiles. Just walking, looking for something. Maybe looking for me." It started like a joke. Our regular history teacher, Mrs. Raymond, was out sick, and in her place was this super weird substitute named Mr. Hale. He was tall, skinny, wore old-fashioned clothes, and had this strange habit of staring too long without blinking. He didn't even talk much. He just handed out worksheets and told us to work quietly. But it didn't take long for things to feel off. He kept locking the classroom door. I'm serious. He locked it from the inside after the last kid came in. Then he sat at Mrs. Raymond's desk, just watching us. About halfway through the period, he stood up and walked to the back of the room where the windows were. He pulled the blinds down and turned off half the lights. Then he just stood there, silent. We all exchanged looks. One kid whispered, "What is he doing?" That's when the loudspeaker clicked on. "Teachers, we are in lockdown. This is not a drill. Lock your doors and remain calm." But our door was already locked. We waited for the sub to give instructions. But he didn't move. Then he walked back to the front of the class, slowly, like he wasn't surprised at all. And he said one thing: "No one leaves this room." I got a chill right away. Something wasn't right. I could feel it. Then he pulled something out of his pocket. Not a weapon, but a key. A master key to all the classrooms. He walked over to one of the kids sitting in the front and said, "Give me your phone." The kid handed it over, confused. He took everyone's phones. Said it was for safety. That's when we realized this guy wasn't just strange. He wasn't even supposed to be here. One of the girls near the back slowly crawled to her backpack and pressed the emergency button on her smartwatch. 10 minutes later, we heard loud knocks at the door. Then a voice. "This is the police. Open the door." The substitute backed away from the door. But it was too late. Officers burst in and tackled him. Turns out the real substitute never showed up. This man had walked in off the street, stolen a badge from a visitor, and pretended to be a teacher. He didn't have a weapon, but he had a bag full of duct tape, gloves, and some pills. Nobody knows what his plan was, but we were all part of it, and we didn't even know.